While it lacks clear definition beyond considering itself a family of nations, the Commonwealth, particularly under Queen Elizabeth II, served the primary purpose of helping former British colonies gain recognition on the global stage for their independence. I want to believe that after the passing of Her Royal Majesty, Queen Elizabeth envisioned a Commonwealth at the beginning of her reign, which had been fulfilled, fueled by her dedication and commitment. But will her son, the new King Charles, be able to fulfill the new vision as the new ceremonial head, particularly in Africa? You're welcome to the show. The show is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm Odiawa AI, and with me on the show,
I'm Febaya.
You will do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. Now, Favor, today actually we're talking about the impact of the Commonwealth on the African continent, specifically. Not that there aren't other dominions apart from the African continent. Now, originally created as the British Commonwealth of Nations through the Balfour Declaration of the 1926 Imperial Conference and formalized by the United Kingdom through the Statute of Westminster, would you quickly, briefly, give us an overview of the Commonwealth?
Okay, I'll say that the Commonwealth was an idea that was born in the late 19th century. Because if you look backward in 1884, we see where Lord Rosebery named it the Commonwealth of Nations. It was a time that the dominion status was being acquired by countries like Canada and the rest of them. So there, the Lord Rosebery named it the Commonwealth of Nations, but officially it became a union and organization in 1931 through the Statute of Westminster. And I look at Commonwealth as a school reunion. That's what, if you understand school reunion, you understand Commonwealth very well. This is like, okay, we are done ruling these people. They have passed under our institution, but let us still bring them back under our umbrella. People that we have colonized, that we are under our rules, let's still have a relationship with them to help them to move forward and achieve whatever goals or value that they are pursuing.
So let me pick up something from there. You said the Commonwealth is like a school reunion.
Yes.
So that's to say the colonization phase was actually an era or period of schooling in secondary school. So actually the reunion now should now come in terms of the Commonwealth Games. That's what you're trying to talk about, which is held like every 4 years. Now that's just a bit of digression. Now on the motives, or one of the motives for the establishment of the Commonwealth was for former British colonies to actually gain recognition on the global stage for their independence. Now, I want to ask this particular question. Was it compulsory, particularly African nations, because of the treatment meted out on them? Was it actually right for them to be members of the Commonwealth? And is it still right? Why? Because as we speak now, Africa is a neo-colonial playing ground.
Okay. I will say it this way. It is not compulsory, but they didn't have a choice.
Okay.
If you get me, like, this was a period that, okay, colonialism has ended, but they were just left bare, and you open an organization and told them that here values will be shared, they have benefits from here. When you like collaborate with other nations, this is what you stand to gain, and the rest of those. So it wasn't like they wanted to, because these people are people that are aggrieved. Like the colonization period, the treatment and all of that, you will not tell me that they are happy with the crown, but they felt that they should be there because of the benefits that are involved, the promised benefits that were involved in the organization. But I'll also tell you that it's not compulsory, because we have seen countries that entered and left, and countries like that didn't join at all, like Libya and Algeria. They've never been a member of the Commonwealth. But we have seen also Zimbabwe and South Africa. Like South Africa joined in the year 1921, and because of the height of apartheid and and violence. They left and came back in 1994 as the Republic of South Africa. So with this now, you can know that it's not actually compulsory for you to be a member of Commonwealth. You can come, you can go anytime you want. There is no blueprint, there is no law whatsoever that will take you process to join or process to go out.
Does it now mean that with the flexible structure of the British Crown, which is in charge of all, the head of the Commonwealth, are we now trying to say that there's flexibility now in the Commonwealth? This is keen into you
What?
saying that
Yeah.
it's a choice or not a choice. You can
Yeah,
come in and come out.
it's a choice. Just like like I said in the beginning, if you understand school reunion, you will understand Commonwealth. I've always seen it as a reunion. Nobody is forcing you to come. You are not compelled. But people are coming because they want relationship with other nations. So like maybe we are in the same school group, and a country that I know that commonly I cannot have a conversation with them, but there we are seated in the Commonwealth. So countries are joining because of the benefits and values that they are going to derive from membership. But telling me that, oh, with their full heart, like they joined wholeheartedly, that might not be true, because we know what we passed in the hands of colonialism.
Okay, not to digress a bit now, the Commonwealth should actually have a policy on ground which is beneficial to its members. And these member nations also should belong to other organizations,
Yes.
probably NATO, the United Nations, or regional blocks or continental blocks. Do you think now, this is out of the box now,
Yeah.
whether the membership of the Commonwealth will conflict with their membership of other international bodies or local bodies or regional blocks?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because is a kind of is a free group, and its rules, or let me say its modalities, doesn't negate the charter of, let me say, United States or NATO. It's like is a free group, and they are being democratic, focusing on human rights, rule of law, and all of that. So whatever they are doing in the Commonwealth doesn't negate any natural law or
Okay.
man-made law. So you can belong there and be in any group that you want.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, Favor, while it lacks a clear-cut definition beyond considering itself as a family of nations, I mean the Commonwealth here,
Yeah.
particularly under Queen Elizabeth, who served the primary purpose of helping former British colonies gain their recognition on the global stage for their independence. My question now is, what has actually been the benefits of these African colonies becoming nations from the Commonwealth?
Okay, I'll go back to saying that the real sense of the creation of the Commonwealth is to make up things to their colonies. And because of that, they are trying every possible means, even if it's not going to come from them, let it come from other countries in the organization. So one of the things that African countries has benefited, or have benefited rather, in the Commonwealth is, let me call it, boost in trade and marketing. If you look back at 2007 in Uganda, the Commonwealth head of government had this conference that was held there, and the discussion there was how to the way forward for trade in Africa, and how they can help African countries to boost their trade and everything. Then we look at the part where they helped Ghana and Gambia during their election, their different electoral processes, in by providing technologies and equipment that will help to make the election free and fair and move smoothly. Then we have the Commonwealth Scholarship and Fellowship, which is a scholarship for African students that want to go and study in Commonwealth nations. So many African youths, they have keyed into this fellowship, and they have gained admission to various institutions in Commonwealth countries. So through that way, they are helping to boost education among African youths. So these are my few benefits that I can say that Africans, they have actually gained from Commonwealth.
Okay, now I want to raise this inquiry actually from a tweet from Ujuanya. Can we have those images of Ujuanya up? See, I raised this inquiry why? Because she's a US-based university professor in linguistics at the Carnegie Mellon University who examines the role of race and gender in languages. Now, she made some scathing comments or remarks about the Queen and the Commonwealth on Twitter, now X, after the Queen's demise. Now, in a tweet, she actually said, which is as of 2 years ago, if anyone expects me to express anything but disdain for the monarch who supervised a government that sponsored the genocide that massacred and displaced half of my family and the consequences of which those alive today are still trying to overcome, you can keep wishing upon the stars. Can we have the second tweet? Now, I heard the chief monarch of a thieving, raping, genocidal empire is finally dying. May her pain be excruciating. Now, I'm not trying to support these scathing comments or remarks, but judging from where she is coming from, no doubt about the fact that the British, particularly starting from the colonial era or even the Slavocratic era before the colonial era, transcending into future eras, were really brutal.
Okay, yeah.
Now, would we say this statement was justifiable or not justifiable?
I can't, like, can I say I support her? We are not trying to say, we are not wishing we didn't wish the Queen dead. But what she's saying is justifiable, very, very justifiable. She being a person of an educational person, learned, a professor, whatever, doesn't mean she didn't come from a place. She has a root, and her root was affected, and the trauma is still living on, and she had to say that because she's pained. She's just one out of the millions of Africans that are actually coming up to the online space to come and say the truth and say their mind. So many people have worse things to say than what Ujwanya had said, but either they don't have the morale or they just want to just leave it, let it just slide. But the suffering that Africans went through in the hands of these colonial masters is unquantifiable. If you read Walter Rudeney's How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, you see so many things that we had done.
I think what we discussed earlier before the show, you made mention of Walter Rudeney's Africa, Developing Africa, Underdeveloping Africa, or something like that.
No,
but the one which you're talking about is Frantz Fanon.
No, I'm talking about Walter Rudeney's How Europe Underdeveloped Africa. There's another book, How Africa Underdeveloped Africa. That's like, and after that's what corrupt leaders and all of that cause uproar. But this one talks about the odds of colonialism.
Yeah, fine.
So there he stated quite a lot of things, which is one of what Professor Ujwanya has stated in her quote. She's just saying one part of it, the genocide and everything. But we had a lot of things. They did a lot of things to Africans. And she's saying it coming up to the online space. We live in a democratic world, a free world. So she has the right to say, but I don't actually support her wishing the Queen dead and all of that, but that is a part of her expression. Africans will pass through a lot.
Okay, I want to ask, not to deviate per se. Now, let's use the Civil War, for instance, which has actually affected Ujwanya, where she's coming from. Now, my question now is, as a colonial master, wouldn't it have been right for them, as the head of the Commonwealth, to serve or act as a mediator from the secessionist group, which was Biafra, and the Republic of Nigeria?
This is a tough one to actually decide on, because if you're talking about Nigeria and Biafra in the face of United Kingdom, Nigeria is a child they betted, and let me not say a child they betted, a slave they trained.
Monsters you made according to Bonner Boy.
Thank you. So are you Biafra? You're not trying to like secede from that their creation or creature. Yes, you're not trying to secede. It's a kind of, you're going against what they have created. You're trying to break out from what they have created. And then they had to, obviously they were going to take the part of Nigeria. They can't leave Nigeria, the bigger parts of their family or child, and now it's like leaving all the parts of the body, and you are now going to save the toe. That's what that's what they saw it as. So not like they were not passionate about the Biafran children and the people there, but you had to be on one side. They can't be in between. I don't know how to say it. They had to support a bigger part of the problem.
Okay, being that they granted Nigeria independence, they didn't grant Nigeria independence without the Southeast region, which had the intention of breaking away. Now, the intention of breaking away is a topic of discussion, which is aside, which has to do with marginalization. Now, my question is, wouldn't they have been right, rather than fueling the war, when they granted Nigeria independence? The Southeastern region was still with the country.
Okay.
I think maybe they should have looked for how to mediate instead of backing the Nigerian government as a whole, because it's like a father who burns the house and you have siblings who are fighting. You don't expect to throw the other revolting child out. There's need to draw the child in and correct the child. But the British do well in that.
But that is your own opinion.
Okay.
That is what you have to say. Some other people will have what they have to say, and I have what I have to say. And what I'm saying is that making decisions in such situations is very tough. And believe me, they must have thought about it, tried to go, like, seek other means, but they had to end in that part. You cannot, you see what there was something that they did in Africa, then I've forgotten what they named it, non-alignment policy.
The non-alignment
yes,
policy,
that you don't have to belong, you
to
have
the
to be
Eastern
neutral
or Western bloc.
But that was it was a joke, because none of those African countries, they had somewhere they belong, but secretly. So what a United Kingdom did was, we can't deceive you by saying that we are in between, we are trying to negotiate things, so that, because if you try to negotiate, at the end of the day, what they want, the best way to solve it is allow these people go, which is not what Nigeria wanted. So they have to be on the part of the people that want unity.
Okay.
Do you understand? They want to be on the part of the people that want unity, rather than being on the part of the people that want division. So they saw unity as the good part of it and division as a bad part.
Okay. Okay, that's the Civil War is just one of it now. Coming over to this issue of the Commonwealth now, not restricting it to Nigeria now. The Prince Charles, now King Charles III, actually was in Kenya recently to make amendments for past gruesome attacks. Actually, Britain now has actually lived up to this blood-stained legacy over the period, coming from the Slavocratic era to the colonial era, and even now, the neo-colonial era, which, as we speak now, the continents now, particularly its domains or dominions, have actually become neo-colonial playing grounds. Now, my question now is, with the direction the Queen of England took, will King Charles now, who is now the head of the Commonwealth, take a different direction in Africa? Judging from what we've seen now, is he like, taking a step in the right direction?
Queen Elizabeth, she has lived and she's gone. And this is like a new beginning. So the wise thing for King Charles to do is to start, like, let's start on a whole different page. What my mom didn't do, let me start from her shortfallings. The places that she didn't make up for, let me start from there. Instead of you, like what he did in Kenya and in Canada as well, because after Kenya he went to Canada. I feel like that's a step forward, but people are complaining that he's just blaming, giving regrets, but then you are not actually apologizing. You are not saying, we are sorry, I am sorry, my country is sorry, whosoever that is involved is sorry. You're just coming to say, we regret our actions. And Africans, they are not seeing it as a formal apology. People want you to do something, show it, rather than saying it. You're saying you are regretting. That's kind of consoling yourself. But the person you did it to, what are you doing for them? What have you said to them? We just did this, and we regret our actions. What about the other person at the receiving end? What do you have to say to them? And that is the problem I have with his going about to Kenya, to Canada, to go, and you're just beating about the bush. You're not hitting the point.
Okay, concerning what has actually been said, now I take a cue from recent remarks or comments or reports making the rounds. It's a case of people practically wanting the monarch, the king, which is one of the highly respected royalties across the globe, to actually kneel down to apologize, which of course can't be done. So will it be right to say that the Commonwealth was actually set up as a documented apology, but the real apology hasn't been orally given? but his actions now says otherwise.
Yeah.
How do all these things add up?
What Africans didn't realize is that the apology has been long done, but they didn't notice it. The Commonwealth was apology. We have done you wrong. We'll bring you together to find a way to help you, and for you two to find a way to help yourselves. But they just saw it as an organization, and most of them joined because they were desperate and they needed help, and they needed other countries to be around them to rub minds and share values. They didn't join because they loved United Kingdom, but they didn't know that that very organization was created as a form of, we are sorry, can we come together to help ourselves? Let's try to make things up to you. Then coming to the part of saying that you need the monarch to get on his knees and apologize. I don't see it coming. I don't see it. There are so many ways. We should be realistic here. I don't think it's in line with the modalities of being a monarch over there. So there are so many ways to follow it. I'll give one option, and that one of it is giving a formal apology, written, however you want to do it, post it on media channels. I'm sorry, we are sorry for what we did to Africa, because they did a lot.
It can also be framed up like the Declaration of Independence and put in a particular place as a monumental observation.
Yes. And then aside that, you can do so many things for these people, because they underdeveloped us, and we cannot look away from that truth. So many books I've read, like I read Walter Rodney's back to back. Like, you just know that we would have gone far, no matter how they try to discredit this, we would have gone far in the absence of colonialism. But because of that, you came to a group of people in their prime, and you were there. You stood on them, ripping them for decades, for centuries. And when you feel that you've got enough, you have developed your own place enough, or you are losing your strength, you cannot maintain them again, you left them like that. So I think one thing King Charles can do is start developing the best. At the best, he should start developing most of these places that lag behind because of the stay of the British colony there. So they can start with development, build things. If you can build companies that will help such state communities to rise up to their very best, then you can go on and do it. This is a kind of apology that will never leave the people's mind. You see this and you know that, oh, it's the British Empire that did this for us, in order to apologize for what they have done, not just coming to say and give speech and everything.
Well, we've had it all from Favor Eya, who has taken time to break down the future of the Commonwealth in Africa, particularly after the demise of the Queen of England, and how it's going to take its course, who is going to steer the ship, and how he is going to steer the ship. I'm talking about King Charles III now as we speak. The show has been Viewpoint, and now the Commonwealth, which has actually recently welcomed some new members that don't share any direct historical ties with the United Kingdom. Togo, former German colony, and Gabon, a former French colony, joined the Commonwealth earlier this year without any need or political pressure to do so. These considerations taken together appear to leave the Commonwealth of the 21st century with an identity crisis, especially when it comes to its meaning and purpose. King Charles III is meant to keep out of politics. However, will the Commonwealth of Nations address some highly politicized issues based on mounting calls? Food for thoughts, like I'd always say. Like I began by saying, the show is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm your host, Odiawa AI. With me on the show,
Favor Eya.
You do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. Thanks for watching.